안녕하세요. 텀입니다. Let's run as fast as we can to the goal today. The grammar we will learn is first, 는 대신에 instead of, second, 은이은 덕분에 thanks to ing, and finally, 는 바람에 because as a result. If you learn today's grammar, 급하게 먹는 바람에 체했어요. Because I ate in a hurry, my stomach is upset. Like this, although it is the word 바람, it doesn't mean wind. Did you notice this? It is the grammar that translates as because. This kind of expression is just like an intermediate level. Let's master the unique intermediate grammar, pass topic to level 4, and become a super master of intermediate Korean. You can achieve it. 그럼 시작할게요. The first grammar, 는 대신에 means instead of, and you attach it to verbs and nouns. First, for verbs, you attach 는 대신에 to a stem. For example, 가다, to go, will be 가는 대신에 instead of going. 먹다, to eat, will be 먹는 대신에 instead of eating. For nouns, you attach 대신에 after a noun. For example, 당신, you, will be 당신 대신에 instead of you. 친구, a friend, will be 친구 대신에 instead of a friend. Now, let's read a sample sentence. 요새는 아침에 밥을 먹는 대신에 과일과 요구르트를 먹고 있어요. Lately, instead of eating rice for breakfast, I have been eating fruit and yogurt. Here, 먹다 is to eat. You add 는 대신에 to the stem to make 먹는 대신에 instead of eating. Let's look at the next sample sentence. 눈에 피로가 쌓여 있다면 렌즈를 끼는 대신에 안경을 써보세요. If your eyes are tired, try using glasses instead of wearing contact lenses. Here, 렌즈를 끼다 means to wear contact lenses. You add 는 대신에 to the stem to make 렌즈를 끼는 대신에 instead of wearing contact lenses. Okay, let's move on to the next one. 다친 선수 대신에 경기에 출전할 사람이 필요해요. Instead of an injured player, we need someone to play in the game. Here, 선수 is a player. You add 대신에 to make 선수 대신에 instead of a player. Quizzes! Then let's deepen our understanding with some quizzes. Which one is the correct answer? 제1은 주말에, 수요일, 목요일에 쉬어요. My job is off on Wednesdays and Thursdays instead of working on the weekends. Number 1, 출근하는 대신에. Number 2, 출근한 대신에. The correct answer is number 1. 출근하다 is to work. You add 는 대신에 to the stem to make 출근하는 대신에 instead of working. Now, let's read it together. 제1은 주말에 출근하는 대신에 수요일, 목요일에 쉬어요. Please repeat it several times like you are talking to your friend. Okay? Now, let's look at the next quiz. 요새는 밤에 한국어 공부를 하고 있어요. Recently, instead of drinking alcohol, I have been studying Korean. Number 1, 술 대신에. Number 2, 술을 마시는 대신에. The correct answer is number 2. 술을 마시다 is to drink alcohol. You add 는 대신에 to the stem to make 술을 마시는 대신에 instead of drinking alcohol. Number 1 is close but wrong because 술 대신에 means instead of alcohol. You want to say instead of drinking alcohol. Okay? Slight difference. Now, let's read it together. 요새는 밤에 술을 마시는 대신에 한국어 공부를 하고 있어요. It's great that you have an attitude to learn Korean. I love it. The second grammar, 은이은 덕분에 means thanks to ing. 은이은 덕분에 and 은이은 덕에 are the same meanings. So remember them together. To conjugate verbs, you use the past tense of a noun modifier. So it is going to be 은이은 덕분에 thanks to ing. For example, 가다 to go will be 간 덕분에 thanks to going. 먹다 to eat will be 먹은 덕분에 thanks to eating. For adjectives, you use 은이은 덕분에. However, you usually conjugate this grammar with verbs. For nouns, you add 덕분에 directly to a noun. You can say like 선생님 덕분에, thanks to my teacher, or 친구 덕분에, thanks to my friend. Oh, such a heartwarming grammar. I love it. Now, let's read the sample sentence. 어렸을 때부터 미국에서 생활한 덕분에 나는 영어를 자연스럽게 할 수 있게 되었다. Since I was young, thanks to having lived in the United States, I was able to speak English naturally. In this sentence, 생활하다 is to live. Since this verb does not have a final consonant, you add 니은 덕분에 to the stem to make 생활한 덕분에 thanks to having lived. Let's look at the next sentence. 날씨가 선선한 덕분에 여행을 갈 수 있었어요. Thanks to the cool weather, I was able to travel. Weather is certainly an important factor when traveling, right? Here, 선선하다, to be cool, is an adjective without a final consonant. Therefore, you add 니은 덕분에 to make 날씨가 선선한 덕분에 thanks to the cool weather. Let's see the last example. 제 와이프 덕분에 지금까지 제가 계속 연구할 수 있었어요. Thanks to my wife, I was able to continue my research until now. It's such a comforting sentence. Here, wife means a wife. Since it is a noun, you add 덕분에 directly to make 와이프 덕분에, thanks to my wife. Please use 덕분에 often in your life like this sentence. Quiz! Then let's deepen our understanding with some quizzes. Which one is the correct answer? 친구가 한국어를 이제는 능숙하게 대화할 수 있게 되었어요. Thanks to my friends who taught me Korean, I can have a conversation well now. Number 1, 가르쳐준 덕분에. Number 2, 공부한 덕에. The correct answer is number 1. First, 가르쳐주다 is to teach someone. Since this is a verb without a final consonant, you add 니은 덕분에 to make 가르쳐준 덕분에 thanks to my friend who taught me. Number 2 is wrong because 공부한 덕에 means thanks to studying. It is different from the text. Now, let's read it together. 친구가 한국어를 가르쳐준 덕분에 이제는 능숙하게 대화할 수 있게 되었어요. Wow, that's the power of friendship. Now, let's look at the next quiz. 직장 선배가 친절하게 회사를 그만두지 않고 힘낼 수 있었어요. Thanks to my senior who was so kind to me, I was able to keep working hard without quitting the company. Number 1, 대해주는 탓에. Number 2, 대해준 덕분에. The correct answer is number 2. 친절하게 대해주다 is to treat someone kindly. Since this is a verb which does not have a final consonant, you add 니은 덕분에 to the stem to make 친절하게 대해준 덕분에 thanks to treating me well. Number 1, 대해준 탓에 means completely opposite from 대해준 덕분에. It is an expression to blame someone as because you treat me well. As you can see, it is very strange to point at someone who is nice to you. Now, let's read it together. 직장 선배가 친절하게 대해준 덕분에 회사를 그만두지 않고 힘낼 수 있었어요. Please try to imagine the scene you are thankful for and read it several times. Last but not least, let's look at the grammar 눈바람에 because as a result, unlike the heartwarming 덕분에 thanks to, which we learned earlier, you use 눈바람에 to state an unexpected reason for a negative consequence. How to conjugate is that you add 눈바람에 to the present tense of a verb. For example, 가다 to go will be 가는 바람에 because I go. 먹다 to eat will be 먹는 바람에 because I eat. It is the present tense in Korean. However, it could often be translated into the past tense in English. Now, let's read the sample sentence to see how a speaker is using 는 바람에 for a negative consequence. 요새 매일같이 인터넷 쇼핑하는 바람에 돈이 거의 없어요. Lately, because of my daily online shopping, I have very little money. In this sentence, 인터넷 쇼핑하다 is to do online shopping. You add 는 바람에 to the stem to make 인터넷 쇼핑하는 바람에 because of online shopping. It's an unfortunate situation that this speaker has very little money, right? That's why he's using 는 바람에. Okay, let's see what the negative event is next. 무역회사는 요즘 한일 간의 환율 시장이 흔들리는 바람에 큰 타격을 입고 있다. Lately, trading firms have been affected seriously as a result of the unstable currency markets in Japan and Korea. It sounds like news, doesn't it? Here, 환율 시장이 흔들리다 means the currency market is shaking, unstable. You add 는 바람에 to the stem to make 흔들리는 바람에 as a result of shaking, unstable. Let's move on to the next sentence. It looks like another unfortunate things also happened. 친구한테 교과서를 빌려주는 바람에 오늘은 교과서 없이 수업을 들었어요. Because I lent my textbook to my friend, I had a class without it today. The speaker did a good thing for his friend, but the result was a bit disappointing. Here, 빌려주다 is to lend. You add 는 바람에 to the stem to make 빌려주는 바람에 because I lent. It is in the present tense in Korean, but when translated into English, it is often in the past tense, like because I lent my textbook to my friend. Quiz! Then let's deepen our understanding with some quizzes. Which one is the correct answer? 친구가 약속 시간을 안 결국 비행기를 못 탔어요. Because my friend didn't keep the appointed time, we weren't able to board the plane. Number 1, 지키는 바람에. Number 2, 지킨 덕에. The correct answer is number 1. 약속 시간을 안 지키다 means not to keep the appointed time. You add 는 바람에 to the stem to make 안 지키는 바람에 because my friend didn't keep the appointed time. Oh no, you should keep your promise to your friend, right? Number 2, 지킨 덕에 is wrong because it means thanks for keeping the appointed time. You use this grammar to state a reason for a positive result. Now, let's read it together in a half. 친구가 약속 시간을 안 지키는 바람에 결국 비행기를 못 탔어요. It's terrible when something like this happens. The next quiz is another scary example. Let's take a look. 그 집은 유령이 자주 바람에 집값이 폭락했다. Because the house is often haunted by ghosts, the price of the house plummeted. Number 1, 나가는. Number 2, 나오는. The correct answer is number 2. It's very scary that a ghost haunts a house. Here, 유령이 나오다 directly means ghosts appear. You use 는 바람에 to the stem to make 유령이 나오는 바람에 because ghosts appear. In other words, the house is haunted by ghosts. Number 1 is close but wrong because 나가는 means to go out. Now, it's so spooky, but let's read it together. 그 집은 유령이 자주 나오는 바람에 집값이 폭락했다. Let's read it until you can say it naturally. Homework! Okay, now I'll introduce a short saying. 때문에 라고 말하는 것보다 덕분에 라고 말하며 살자. Rather than saying because, let's live by saying thanks to. Such a wonderful saying, right? I hope you live your life full of 덕분에. Okay? Now, here's your homework. There are 2 homework assignments. First, please compose 3 sentences using today's grammar. For the first sentence, try to use 는 대신에 instead of. For example, 오늘은 집에서 밥을 먹는 대신에 외식해요. Today, let's go out for dinner instead of eating at home. For the second sentence, write a heartwarming sentence using 는 덕분에 thanks to. For example, 당신이 항상 곁에 있어준 덕분에 행복했어요. I was happy thanks to you who were always there for me. It is touching, isn't it? For the third sentence, try to make a pessimistic sentence using 는 바람에 because as a result. For example, 눈이 많이 오는 바람에 지하철이 지연됐어요. Because of lots of snow, the train was delayed. Please write them all in the comment section. I'm excited to see what thoughtful examples you all come up with. The second homework is to memorize new words. Please memorize the 40 words from number 1601 to number 1640 on page 21 in the intermediate vocabulary list. There is a vocabulary quiz of 40 words on my website, so just feel free to try it. The link is in the description box. That's all for today. 저는 여러분 덕분에 항상 행복해요. I'm always happy thanks to you guys. 수업 정말 수고 많았어요. 그럼 오늘도 행복 가득, 웃음 가득한 하루 되세요. 한국어 파이팅 파이팅 파이팅!